Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are joining us from. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome. I am Kiki, and this is Coaching Over Cacao. Cheers. I have a new mug. It has the word hustle crossed out and align. I am all about working in alignment. So grab your cacao, coffee, tea, matcha, warm beverage of choice, and join us. We are going through James Wedmore's first 100 leads training. I decided I wanted to do this together to support and help a lot of my folks in my group, and wanted to share it with you as well. So thank you for joining us. I created a playlist on YouTube so you can binge and go through it. But going through 3-4 modules a week, they're super short, and sharing my takeaways, my ahas, and some of my mistakes and teachable moments along the way. So you can still grab it. The link will be in the notes. You can binge it. You will have lifetime access. And there are now 3 new, completely different live trainings that you can also binge. Highly recommend you do so. So whether you're looking for your first 100 qualified leads or your next 100 soul aligned clients, there are so many beautiful takeaways and things that you can do to create a burst of new energy and excitement in your business and attract new people, nurture current ones. I have really enjoyed going through it this year. So today we are talking about the THH method, or title, headline, hook. So before I dive in, I had a client like, why do I go through this every year or multiple times a year? Because every time I go to launch something, and we're different people, right? We're growing, we're evolving. So every time I go through it, it's through a different lens. I have different experience. I have a different perceptual lens that I'm looking through and listening through and learning through, and things sink in deeper, right? We hear them, we understand them in a different way. So I don't know, it's like puzzle pieces falling into place. I feel like the first few times that I went through this training, I didn't quite grasp the vehicle aspect, which was in last week's, I think, vehicle and domino belief. Like, I thought I was the vehicle and I wasn't. So check that out. It's super interesting. So we'll dive right in. Title. I used to rush this. It was kind of like, let me put a label on it. Let me get it out right away, right? Throw something up, get it out to my audience quickly. Because I was in this messy, inspired action phase, which is not bad, but I really wasn't taking the time needed to create a title that would attract people, right? It wasn't getting me very far. It would get a little traction, but my titles, to be honest, if I'm self-reflecting, were pretty vanilla, right? Or they would go to the opposite end of the spectrum, and they were super fancy, right? Cute, complicated. I was trying to be super creative and stand out. So it's almost like people had to be part of the inside club in order to get what the title was alluding to. So I was losing people and I wasn't attracting people. So this jumps out at me. I write it down, I highlight it, and clarity trumps creativity, not just in the title, but in all things. So really taking that to heart, as I've been creating titles for other things in programs and working on creating new exciting workshops and master classes, clarity trumps creativity is something I'm taking to heart. And my titles weren't talking to the outcome. So it wasn't specific. It didn't have a differentiator. So it was like, why would I sign up? Why would I give you my email for this free thing? Right? So it wasn't creating that desire, that demand. It wasn't communicating clearly. So when I started to put these elements together, like, titles should speak to the outcome, be specific, right? I had a mentor many moons ago say, be specific, you'll get terrific. Like, the more direct we communicate, whether it's title or messaging or anything, the better our outcome will be. And then differentiate. Like, why is this free thing better than the other free things out there? So you can use the word without to set it apart. And when you put these 3 things together to create your title, that is what is going to attract your soul aligned clients. So I had a huge aha moment when James said the medium doesn't matter. So this is another area where I would totally get in my head, right? The medium, is it going to be an audiobook? Is it going to be an ebook? Is it going to be a mini course? How many videos will it be? You know, I went down this rabbit hole of logistics, right? It's safe, right? I didn't have to create it yet if I was in this indecision place. But then I was never putting anything out. And at the end of the day, our people don't care what it is or how it's delivered. Does it work? And does it get them the transformation they want? It's really that simple. So play around, right? It's all an experiment. You know, maybe audio works really well with your audience, but my audience likes video, or maybe they like both, and you get them the audio transcript as well as a video so that their eyes are entertained. Like, that's minutia, and that's later. It took me away from focusing on the title. So that was a big light bulb moment for me. And then a belief I didn't realize I had was around each part of this is very hard. So the title, the hook, the headline, like writing it out and taking the time to do it was something I was avoiding or rushing through. So I sat with that in a journal on that a little bit. So I'd love to know, you're taking this with us and you're going through it. What were some of your takeaways? What did you realize about yourself? What did you learn? There's so many little mini lessons within these lessons that apply to so much more than just our lead magnet. So one of the homeworks he gave was to write out 30 titles, just free write. Like the first 15 or 20 are probably going to come really easy. The last 5 to 10 are going to be hard. And he's like, those are the ones that are probably closest to what you're going to want to use. And that's where a lot of the magic happens. So I've sat down a few times to do this, and I think I've gotten 5 or 10 in. So I'm going to go back to it now that I've realized I've been blocking myself with this belief that it's got to be hard. So therefore, I created a reality where it was hard. So now it's fun, it's easy. I want to communicate with my soul and clients. I want to help them. It's going to be much easier. That's my new belief. So I'd love to hear your takeaway. Bottom line, the title should clearly state what your lead magnet or freebie will do. So it answers the so what or so that, right? Now let's dive into the headline. So I totally dropped the ball here. I don't think my first 4 or 5 lead magnets ever had a headline. It was title, sign up, and that was it. So this piece was missing from a lot of my initial lead magnets. I just wanted to go right into creation mode, right? How many of us are like, we have the idea, we like to create things, we have this creatrix energy, and we're like, okay, we named it, let's go create it, can't wait to get it out to our people, we've got this excitement, but we skip this step. And this helps connect the title with the hook and also qualify our people, right? We don't want just anybody on our list. Like I think I mentioned last week or the week before, I had created a lead magnet. Yeah, one of the mistakes Jane mentions all entrepreneurs make is creating the lead magnet first and not connecting it to an offer. And I did that a lot. And so that those barely had a title. I had people signing up. They weren't my ideal client. They weren't my soul aligned client. They would grab the freebie and then immediately unsubscribe. We don't want that either, right? It's going to happen regardless of what you create and how amazing your title, hook, and headline are and your freebie. But that was the majority of my people. I gave the example. I created a PDF. It had Facebook groups where people could promote, and it didn't connect to any of my offers. And sure enough, after a month, about 80% of the people that signed up for it unsubscribed. It also did not have a headline and didn't have a catchy hook. It barely had a good title, if I'm being honest. So this was really fun for me to go through and play, right? You don't know what you don't know, right? And Jim says in his secret podcast, which I'll also share, that people don't make mistakes that they know about. And that was another like, what? Right? It's true. If you know it's a mistake and you're like, oh, that's not going to get me my desired outcome, we avoid it. We try something else. But sometimes we're too close and we don't see. So love going through this and applying it to different areas of business. So headline. Let's see. James gave 3 different template examples. And this was another really good refresher for me because I had been using just the first one. And I wasn't using it as a headline. I was using it in my messaging and in different places on social media. And I will share one with you here, but definitely watch the video. It's lesson 8 in the first 100 leads training. It's a free mini course. Love it. Out of the 3, I was using the first one he shares. I'm going to share his favorite, the third one he shares. So how a blank was able to blank even though blank, right? He loves using exclamation points and quotes. And why is this template his favorite? It's the highest converting. So he uses this on his freebies and his products, and he's very successful. So it's super fun. This one, you can talk about a specific client, and if you're newer starting out, that client can be you, right? Typically, 99% of the time when I talk to my clients, and even when I started, we're our first client, whether we're coaching, self-healing, right? We are getting us through it. So use yourself, right? How a spiritual entrepreneur was able to double their business even though they worked less, right? And this is where you get to play around with the headline. So write 10, 20, 30, play. Get specific. Which one feels aligned for you and your business? Which one, based on your intuition, feels juicy, feels right for you and the soul aligned clients you want to call in, right? And then last but not least, the hook. So he is working backwards, right? So we've got the hook, the headline, the title, but we started with the title, then worked on the headline, and now we're jumping into the hook. I have actually reverse engineered a lot of things in my business since going through his trainings, and it's made a huge impact on my business growth, on my sanity, and on working less. So putting the effort in the beginning and really getting into the heads of my clients and thinking about the direction of my business has really helped intensify and quantum leap those growth jumps in my business. It's helped me reach more people, right? And that's why I got into business. I don't know about you, but we all want to make an impact in a certain way. And impact and income go hand in hand. So the more income you make, more impact you can make because you're going to funnel it into yourself. You're going to funnel it into your business. You're going to be able to reach more people. So going to the hook, the thing that stood out the most to me in this lesson was behavior is predicated by belief. As I mentioned earlier, I had this belief that each one of these parts was hard. I didn't realize that until I was going through the training this particular time. In my head, I was like, this is hard. It's time consuming. So that was causing me to avoid some of the content, right? Like writing out those 30 titles, writing out different headlines to see what fits. I was avoiding, I was like, it's hard. It's going to take forever. I don't have the time. This was the story that was running in the back of my head. I'm like, well, no one else is going to do it for me. No one else really can, right? You are the one person that knows your client, you know your business, you know your dreams, your desires, your goals that are around and connected to your business. So who better to create these things than you? So I've been working on what do I really believe? Where were those beliefs coming from and kind of getting at the root of them? But this was a really good reminder for me, and you can apply it in different areas and see what other beliefs could be predicating your behaviors and how you can go back to your belief, shift it. Is it yours? Is it someone else's? Where did it come from? And as that shifts, so too will your behaviors, and then you'll get that momentum you want. So self-evaluation is important and it can be challenging. So I try to remind myself to come from an objective place. Like I'm not wrong. I'm not in trouble. Mistakes happen. Laugh about them. what's the message in the mess, and be light about it. Because I think we can be our own worst critic internally, I call it the mean girl voice. And it can be really easy to get on ourselves and feel guilty, place the shame, but that doesn't get us where we want to be, right? We're looking at it as a science experiment. What worked? Cool. Let's repeat that. That didn't work. Let's analyze what can we shift in that piece so that we can optimize its performance and do better. It's not, oh, I didn't put the right ingredient in the right beaker. Like, that doesn't happen in a lab, right? That's such a waste of time to a scientist. So if you kind of put that hat on, that really helped me change, particularly when I've used social media. Cool. It's not like this post is better than that post. Well, why didn't you create more of that? We add so much as humans, and we attach emotions to things that weren't really there. It's hard to detach. So that's why I like to play a game. It's either a game or an experiment. And I like to play to win, right? When you play a board game or a card game, maybe you don't win the first time, but you pay attention and you start to see the strategy. You start to understand how the pieces fit together and how you can play better each time. So that's how I like to view these different pieces of my business and make it fun so that I don't get disheartened. I don't get down on myself. And there is this positive outcome. At the end of the day, more clients means we're fulfilled, right? We feel validated. We feel successful. We've got that endorphins. We've got that dopamine hit. Like, it has all of these positive things. It helps us maybe put food on the table or help our family or buy that new thing we've had on our bucket list or go on an adventure. Whatever your why is, maybe have more of that in front of you as you're creating. I have a gratitude board. So I have behind my computer, I have all of these Post-its with the names of each one of the clients that's invested in me this year. And part of my gratitude practice every morning is I go through and I picture them and I thank them for working with me. And that just sets the vibe for the whole day. And it's super fun. It's super juicy. It brings a smile to my face, even talking about it. And I picture who they are and how they came into my world and how I want to work with more people like them. And that helps me not only with creating my lead magnet, but also in creating content. That was a little extra bonus info for you. So when it comes to the hook, sitting with and getting in the head of your ideal client, again, whether that's you as your first client, where were you? Where are you today? How did you get yourself here? And why was that important, right? If you want to start with you, if you have a specific client in mind already, where were they before they started working with you? Where did they want to be? Why did they want to make that shift? And how can you help them get from that A to that B? And really liked this exercise. I want to go deeper on it, but James recommends going through and listing out like 5 mistakes that our clients are making that they may not know they're making. What are the consequences? So like, what happens if they continue to make these mistakes, right? Maybe they'll never get to point B. Maybe it's causing other problems in their life. And what are the thoughts and beliefs that are leading to those mistakes, right? And this stuff, really, I geek out on it. It's so fun. And this isn't coming from a place of like fear mongering or pain point marketing or anything. And I love that he points it out. Most of our clients don't know they're making these mistakes. So if we don't point them out, they may never learn, or someone else will, right? And if I'm making a mistake, I would want someone to tell me so that way I can fix it and get what I want, right? Good friends do that. I think back to anytime I've had like spinach in my teeth, and I have 2 friends that'll always tell me, and my sisters will always tell me, but I have one friend who doesn't feel like it's her place. She's like, oh, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Girl, what hurts my feelings is going out in public after we've had our salad and I've got green in my teeth and I'm smiling and talking to people and I've got green in my teeth. Again, not a big deal. I'm probably not the same, but a metaphor. And I'd want to know, would you want to know? I feel like we all want to make progress. We all want to do better. We all want to help more people. And if we can make these small tweaks to make these bigger impacts and bigger differences, like, heck yeah. I have a coach and she's used the analogy of golf. I'm not a golfer, so I didn't even think of this. But, moving your swing or moving the ball like 2 millimeters makes a huge difference by the time that ball goes down the greenway. I think that's what it's called. Again, I was a putt-putt girl growing up. We used to play mini golf on the boardwalk in New Jersey. So that's more my jam. But same thing, like, right? You just tilt it a little iota and it completely changes where it goes. So you don't need to make these big grand shifts, but these little shifts truly do add up to where we want to end up, where our clients want to end up. So this one completely dropped the ball. I was not talking about mistakes at all, that whether that I was making or clients were making, shied away from it. I avoided it. I didn't want to hurt feelings. I was like, oh, that's negative marketing. That's pain point marketing. I had these were beliefs that I had. And talking about my mistakes lately, whether it's in programs, out of programs, in emails, in my content, has actually been really beneficial to viewership, readership. I've had people reach out. They're like, thank you so much for sharing your mistakes. That really resonated with me, whether they made the mistake or not. It was just humanizing, right? People like relatability. They're like, oh, you're human. You make mistakes. You're not perfect. Social media is so easy to just see sunshine and rainbows and hear all the happy moments. Not on every account, but majority, right? So how often do you do something because it's routine, or perhaps you don't know another way or a better way to do it, or maybe there's a belief like I had where it was wrong or it was bad, or I didn't want to do it because it was negative marketing, right? Or we just don't see it because we're too close to it. I had a friend, I'm trying to think, she said something along the lines of, you can't read the directions from inside the pill bottle. You can't read the directions from inside the pill bottle. So if you're inside the bottle, you can't read the directions. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That just stuck with me. I was like, that makes a good point. So sometimes we're too close to it. We're too close to our business. We're emotionally attached. Like maybe we have blinders on that we don't even know about, or these beliefs are blocking what we truly need to see or alter or fix to improve our outcomes. So we have this opportunity to point out mistakes in a loving way, right? Because it's coming from a loving place. Haters are going to hate, trolls are going to comment, like it's going to trigger people. That's not our intention. And our people are going to know it, they're going to feel it, and they're going to be attracted to us for it. It's up to them if they want to act on it, right? So I love this. They're making the mistake already. So whether we say something or not, they're making the mistake. By highlighting it and talking about it and bringing light to it, they now have the opportunity to make a change. And they're in charge of whether they want to make that change. We're not forcing them to do anything. We're just highlighting something they may or may not have been aware of to get them to a better place. And one of my favorite quotes, he says, I always rewind it and I play it back and I'm just like, wow, people don't make mistakes they know about. People don't make mistakes they know about. Isn't that juicy? I don't know. I really like that quote. I personally believe in coaches and getting help from people who are doing or have done what I want to do, right? Whether it's marketing or business building, self-improvement, spirituality, life coaching, you pick a category and there are coaches out there in that specialty, right? I also love working with well-rounded coaches who have done a lot of things and who have been successful in various areas and who are in the spiritual space. So every time that I have invested in myself and selected a coach, I've grown. And as a direct reflection of that, my business has grown. Every single time I've reached a new level, my business has reached a new level. So if you're interested in leveling up, you love manifestation, law of attraction, and just working on the inner game, like not really a lot to do with business, James just released his secret podcast called The Sorcerer CEO, and you can binge episodes now. It started on Friday, and he's releasing an episode a day until the 19th, and it will be available for a limited time. So grab it. He first released it last year, and I didn't know it was a limited time, and I only got halfway through. So listen, it's juicy. I've been taking notes. He also re-recorded a ton of episodes and added even more amazing content. So I will put that in the show notes. Grab that, listen in. He was talking about, I think it was episode 2. In America, we learn the lessons in school, college, etc., to take the test. But in the universe, it gives us the tests so we can learn the lesson. Ooh, that's juicy. So you'll get 2 links. You can join us if you haven't already for the first 100 leads training. Everything is in your portal, lifetime access. You can go through it again and again as you create new offers and products. And the secret podcast, The Sorcerer CEO, it's all about law of attraction, spirituality. He shares about his internal spiritual journey as he's building this business and how it did relate and help him build it. I think I don't know how many years he's been in business. I should know that, but multi 7-figure or 8-figure at this point. And he started out as a bartender selling a $97 course on how to make YouTube videos. So now he has a multi-billion-dollar industry company, super down to earth. He is my coach. He's my mentor. He's my friend. And he has something else coming up in June. I will share more about next week. But thanks for tuning in. I will see you on the next one. Until then,